All right, here's a recap of the Grindstone 100K, my first 100K. I'm going to bring you onto the course, show you the highs, the lows of the day, as well as some tips and some tricks that you could take into the race if you're planning on doing it in the future to give yourself a little bit of an edge. First, let's take a quick look the day before the race when I first got to the hotel. It's finally 100K time. We've been training, oh gosh, I can't believe it. 10 months, it's finally here, and I am ready to dominate. The little chest cold I had last week is gone. I don't give a shit about this tropical storm that's coming through. That's gonna put 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts on us. You guys have seen, I know how to race in the rain. Got all my gear. With that said, definitely still a little terrified. Not gonna lie, a little terrified. But things are good right now. Friday, it's early afternoon. I learned in my Ironman days, and write this down, you're never gonna get a good night's sleep the night before the race. So it's really like going into the eve, like into today, is where you really wanna get a good night's sleep. That's why I drove down last night after work, got here pretty late, maybe like 10 or 11 o'clock, but I don't have my kids. My wife is an early riser. She's out on a run. I just slept for almost 12 hours. So I feel like a fucking superhero right now. And now I just have to relax, go through my kit one more time, because you have to go through your kit 100 times. And then we'll head down to the race briefing and get my bib and check out the expo and do all of that fun, exciting stuff, but really just try and stay off my feet today and, try and just manage nerves and excitement. That's it. Get some good food, stay off my feet, rest. Let's go. I appreciate you guys. I don't know how long this video is going to be. This is Friday. So thank you for watching, and there's supposed to be a tropical storm. I'll try and give you some views, but I'll at least show you the evolution of, woohoo, we're starting mile 1, I feel good, to mile 40. Maybe I should go home. But then mile 60, we got this. So thank you so much. And if you're training for your first 100K, know this, and this is really important before we go. I care if I finish, so I don't want this to sound like I'm like making excuses for an inevitable failure. But what I'm saying is that now that I'm in the race moment, the journey has been the race, okay? Like when I first signed up, I thought it was gonna be all about finishing 100K. And that's gonna be awesome when I finish the 100K. But over the last 10 months, staying sober, dedicating myself to this, learning new nutrition, trying shoes, getting better sleep. I lost almost 70 pounds. Like that whole journey has been the race. Tomorrow, I just get to go out and enjoy all those 4 a.m. mornings and pooping in the woods and, blisters and bruised toenails. Tomorrow, I really get to enjoy all the shittiness that's happened over the last 10 months. So if you're just starting, just know that like when you get there, if you've trained and done everything that you're supposed to do, you won't be worried about finishing. Like that's why I'm not worried about the weather and the storm. Like, I'm gonna walk away. When I get to Sunday, I'm still gonna be a better man than I am today. Not because I finish or not finish 100K, but because of what I've done over the last 10 months. And stacking that consistency over 10 months has, that's what's made me who I am today. So just think about that. Think about that. All right, let's talk kit for the 100K. Nothing sponsored, guys. I have 500 followers. Nobody's giving me anything for free. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. First, guys, socks and Gingy toe socks, different thicknesses. Probably be rocking the Ultra to start, and then we'll see what happens with the rain. Probably have to change out a few times, but yeah, toe socks for me. Weather is probably definitely going to be a factor, but maybe not until later afternoon. So I think that the Hoka Challenger 7s are going to get the starting bid. On the sidelines will be the Speedland Tams. If it's wet, those are definitely going to be the shoes I'm going to wear. I'll have some Under Armour compression on, as well as some BOA Cookie Monster shorts. Time to eat. Let's go. I'll have the Rabbit low tide on. I love this shirt with the holes in the back. It's just really good airflow. That's what I'll be rocking up top. The waterproof jacket when it rains is going to be from Harrier. If the rain holds off, I'm going to be rocking the Houdini from Patagonia. My vest is the Solomon Advanced Skin 5 with their usual bottles. I'll be carrying 2 of these. My carbon Z-poles are also from Harrier, but they're going to be in a Solomon quiver. I rock a Garmin heart rate monitor. I love it. Headlamp for the start and possibly the finish is going to be the Phoenix HM65RT. Nutrition is going to be Spring. I like the Speed Nut, and then I fall back on the Awesome Sauce if I need something a little lighter. My electrolytes are BPM, salted watermelon flavor slaps, as well as probably a bunch of ketone IQ. Any questions on gear, just let me know. After we got settled into the hotel, we went down for some course recon. I wanted to show my wife the aid station. She was going to be crewing me. So I highly recommend this. If you are having somebody crew the race, there was no service. Definitely drive to aid stations beforehand. All right, calm before the storm. All right, oh, just this way? Seems totally fine now. Should be a little more interesting when there's a tropical storm coming through tomorrow. So here's what it looks like now. Let's see what it looks like tomorrow. All right, so we're out doing course recon. Just got to second aid station that Tara can crew me at. Interesting trip up here.
It's being modest.
Let's just say we're not New York suburb roads. Been on fire roads and four-wheel drive necessary and turn around. And
how do I put the car in four-wheel drive tomorrow?
Tara doesn't know how to put the car in four-wheel drive. But I think we found a way. There's also no service, which makes navigating and everything really like more fun. But yeah, if
he says fun, I say stressful.
If there wasn't a tropical storm coming through tomorrow, this weather's perfect. Yeah. So now that's it. We've hit both aid stations that Tara can go to. Now it's time to go maybe get some lunch, head back to the hotel and relax. Let's do this. And if you're looking for places to stay, we stayed right outside JMU, about 20 minutes from the course or so, in a hotel. There's a bunch of hotels there to choose from, and it was easy to get to and from the race start. We went somewhere local and got ourselves a good dinner, tried to get to bed early, but guys, it's a hotel, there's loud noises, it's things like that, and I'm nervous. So I was up pretty much at about 1 o'clock and got down into the lobby. They were making coffee already, which was awesome, so I had a cup of coffee, and I pretty much just watched the storm grow and went outside a couple of times. I couldn't believe how much the storm really moved in from like 1 to 3 a.m. until my alarm went off my pocket and I realized I should have been sleeping until then. But got up. The morning went really, really well. But when we got to the start, frankly, I was just so nervous. And I got out of the car with like an immediate chill that I was terrified I was never going to be able to shake. But luckily, once we got going, I was able to shake that chill. All right, you can't see us. It's 5:15 in the morning. It's pouring. Very windy, and I'm already freezing. Here we go.
So look carefully, there's lots and lots of course markings, reflective streamers with them, lots of signage.
5 seconds to go. 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
It's 1 mile in, jacket's already off.
What's that?
So 1 mile in, jacket's already off. You already had a code brown. The Ducks are losing right now.
No.
Let's get these duckies going.
I'm on the code brown. It was code yellow. That and I shed the jacket.
Oh yeah, everyone's shedding jackets.
Yeah.
I heard some people complain about the 6 a.m. start. I kind of liked starting in the dark because the sun came up maybe like 7:30, and it kind of made that first hour a blur because you were looking so forward to the sun coming up that it really, like I said, it made that first hour go really, really quickly. You just saw the sun coming up and you kind of focused on that a little bit as you entered the trails. And I would say the first hour or so was like, it flew by so fast. I could not believe how fast the first hour went by. 5 miles in. Definitely looking forward to the sun coming up here in a minute. But we're cruising. Average heart rate right now, 135. Moving. Let's go. The first 4.5 miles of this course are on the road, and that's whether you do the 100K or the 100 miler. They do start you off in the beginning. You like loop around the park and through the campgrounds. There's a little bit of trail there, but for the most part, first 4.5 miles, a little bit uphill, but all pavement. You're on the road the entire time before you duck into the trails at right about 5 miles. Just left aid station 2. Stuffed my face, peanut butter jelly. Been pretty good so far. Next stretch is 10 miles or 2,000 feet. So this one's first big gut check of the day. But all things considered, we're just in a nice train of people. We're on single track. And got in and out of the aid station in under 2 minutes, which is something I'm trying to do. Trying to finish my food. And then we got 10 miles to the next aid station. No views today. Still raining. Pretty cold. Let's do this. 17 miles in. Just past 3,000 feet. Moving. How cool is this? All right, they're coming. Got myself into a nice train of people. It was somewhat runnable. Like, I've been on very rocky courses here in the Northeast that are not runnable. I would consider this technical, but very, very runnable. Got myself in a group of like 5 or 6 people throughout that first 15, 20 miles or so. And just, you know, walking little uphills, getting it, just staying in a nice consistent groove, moving through aid stations quickly. And I think you can make a lot of time early on in the race if you are just consistent and have a good movement pattern. I will say I wasn't prepared for really long grinds of climbs. Those 2-3 mile climbs of 2,000, 2,500 feet. That was something I definitely wish I put more into my training. I worked in hills like that, but more rolling hills or short climbs, I really, really wish. And if you're training for this race, I would highly recommend either getting on the treadmill or finding a climb that's 3,000 feet or so that you know you're just gonna be grinding for over an hour, maybe even 2 hours. 22 miles in, 4,000 feet just left an aid station. That was the first real hard section and pretty good. I'm averaging 1340 for the course so far right now. I just had like little pancakes with ham and hash browns. I'm definitely hungry. It's really the only thing that's bothering me right now. Everything else like feels okay. Normal stuff, but staying on top of hunger has been hard. But I'm still eating. I'm still getting 250, 300 calories an hour, but I'm just hungry. So next aid station is 4.2 miles away, down 500 feet. So hoping once I get this pancake down, get a nice little 4 mile stretch. First time I should see Tara, and maybe get like a full sandwich of me trying to really eat. This guy's being a hero. All right, let's go. Marathon in. Just saw Tara, took Code Brown, had some food, averaging 1330 pace.
You're doing it.
Yeah, we are. And 7.7 miles to the next aid. 1,000 feet more climbing. We're a little under 5,000 feet for the day. So yeah, all things considered, knock on wood, haven't had any real dark moments. Hunger's been the only thing that's really been bothering me. Besides normal, toes are starting to bother me a little bit, and legs definitely have some tight spots at times, but overall, none of those like, shit, I can't do this, we got to get off the course type moments. Nothing like that yet. But the good times shall pass, as well as the bad times. So taking these good times now while I'm feeling good, knowing that 2 minutes from now, my whole world can get turned upside down. All right, about to duck back in the trails. Let's do this. The first 26 miles for me, it just was awesome. I could not feel better. I'm going to mention here, I did not have a low point in the race until I saw my wife. That sounds shitty. Until I saw my wife and it fell apart. No, until that point, like right after I saw my wife, whatever happened, whether I ate too much of that aid station, that really is when I began to hit my first low patch. And that low patch, it lasted for like a good 45 minutes, right at that 30-mile mark. And that was when like the cold started to set in. I started to get sick of the rain at this point. I was about 7 hours in. That's when the wheels started to really, really fall off. But I was still making pretty good time and trying to push forward. All right, 50K in, halfway there. I've actually been in a low spot now for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. Just had some Mountain Dew. I don't know. It's one of those where you're like, yay, I'm halfway. Fuck, I got 50K to go. But relentless forward progress. My knee is just like starting to lock up, which I never have knee issues. The rain's getting just annoying. Like I said, going through my first low patch. This 2-shot pass. Moving forward. Trying to jog the downhills. Walking the uphills. Some lady told me before I gotta keep my heart rate low, but my spirits high. So that's what I'm trying to do. But halfway there. Every step here is a step towards home, and I'm like 2 hours ahead of the cutoff right now. So I gotta go 7 miles. I got to 150. It's 2 o'clock. So I gotta go 7.7 miles, so almost 8 miles in 4 hours to make the cutoff. I think I could do that. I could definitely do that. So let's go kick some ass. All right, let's go kick some ass. So I just passed over 6,200 feet of climbing, which means this is the most I've ever climbed in a race, or frankly in one day. So there's that. Only 5,000 more feet to go, but at least I know that if lightning strikes me dead, you guys can know that today I climbed the most feet I've ever climbed in my whole life. And for that, I'm going to enjoy that for a few minutes. Maybe that'll pick my spirits up a little. We'll see. Then again, it's like, fuck, gotta do that again. That's what I signed up for. It's getting windy. Might throw my jacket on soon. The other thing too is I've been alone on the trails. I'm definitely in the back of the pack. I asked the guy at the last aid station. He said that he thinks there's 50 or 60 people behind me, but it's definitely spaced out. So that makes it harder when like it's literally just you out here. Some people like that. I like it sometimes, but I also like to feed off people and have somebody to talk to besides myself. Still no headphones. I'm not a headphone person. My wife has them. I see her at mile 40. I might grab them. I don't know. I do enjoy the wind, things like that, but I'm lonely. All right, back to work. And I joke, but that loneliness really is something that is just brutal for me. And I mean, it's something that I just need to work on and I'll gain experience with. But like seeing the 100 milers with pacers, I feel like this is a game changer when it comes to having pacers. Just having someone to be able to talk to, or having someone that you know you're going through the struggle with. Early in the race, I was with people the whole time. But after about 30, 40 miles, as the pack started to thin out, especially as I started to drop towards the back of the pack and people weren't really gaining or losing time real fast, once the pace of the group kind of settled in, I didn't see that many people and definitely got lonely, especially when it started to get dark. So, I just passed 41 miles. That means at every step I take from here on out, it's a PR, baby. Let's fucking go. I'm out of that little funk that I was in before. The knee is still a problem. Pretty much what happened at aid stations, when I stop moving, it just locks up. I can't do shit. I'm probably like, I'm half a mile outside the aid station, and I'm just now being able to start to shuffle. I got 5 miles to the cutoff. It's 3 o'clock. No, it's 4 o'clock. I got 2 hours to go 5 miles, but then we got a 3,000 foot climb, biggest climb of the day. So got a battle. The knee issue really became a problem, and I know now days later it was the common peroneal nerve right in the front of the knee. I just inflamed that. No IT issues. It was really just a little bit of like nerve inflammation. And the worst part was like I was kind of limping trying to wobble down the trails, and people would want to pass, and of course I would move to the side. But even stopping for an instant would lock it up. So there was getting to the point where like I was like, damn it, I don't even want to stop. Like, how do I tell this person I don't want to stop? But you had to stop and let people go through. But that really, really hurt the progress, because every time I stopped, it took a few minutes to get the leg moving again. It literally just seized up and I couldn't even put any pressure on it. When I hit Camp Todd, I was in an okay place. I was a little bit cold, but Tara gave me some new gloves. I got a new jacket, a dry shirt, but I really was dreading that climb coming out of Camp Todd. 3 miles, 3,000 feet, 1,000 feet per mile. And at this point, I knew that I was coming very, very close to the cutoff, and I knew that I had to move through this section. And I also knew that I was probably going to be moving at about 25 minutes per mile pace up this hill. And I also knew that the backside of this hill was just as technical. And with the rain now going for almost 24 hours, the place was a slip and slide. So there wasn't a lot of time to make up on that downhill. So if you're doing this race, even in dry conditions, that is going to be a technical downhill off of Camp Todd. There were a lot of great downhill runnable sections early in the race, but after that climb out of Camp Todd, it's super steep, and then the way back down, super steep, super technical, not as slow as going up, but you're definitely going to be slow going down. And this section right here, the 9-mile section, it broke me. It took me almost 3.5 hours, and this is literally where I made the cutoff to the next aid station by 90 seconds. All the times I've been running, I thought I was fucked. I had no idea what fucked felt like. Sun's about to go down. I'm 46 miles in, climbing 3,000 feet. I'm at 1,500 of that right now. It's pouring. This is the trail. 6 miles or so to the next aid station. And it's just as technical and crazy on the way down. It sucks it's gonna be dark soon. My legs are really wobbly. Some dude just saw me looking pretty fucked and gave me a gel. Should have enough water, but on top of that, spirits are low. But I'm grinding. Just don't want to put this fucking headlamp on. So when you think you're fucked, you're probably not. Here we go. A little clarification on what's about to happen here. I got into that aid station 90 seconds to go. And at this point, like, I looked at my watch, I was at 58 miles. I knew it was a little long, but I did not know how much longer the course really was. And then somebody told me I had to go 12 to 13 more miles, and I had 3 hours to do so, and I knew there was another climb coming. I was freezing cold at this point, already shivering, no more dry clothes, and I knew that it was going to be a daunting task. And my wife was like, Brad, please just try. Just try and do the best you can, and that's really what I did. I started running down that little trail you'll see here in a second, and I really did try my best. And we got into a trail section, and I was moving a little bit, and a guy came to pass me, and I said to myself, like, do you have any idea how far it is? Because I knew that I had 4 miles on the road left. So if I knew how far I was to the end of the trail, I would know, okay, 4 miles on the road, I should be able to get a little bit movement going. I shouldn't have asked him how far it was. He told me it was about 3.5 miles more uphill, and that just broke my spirit. I was like, oh my God. And that was when I first realized that, like, there just wasn't enough time. I personally couldn't move fast enough, but I knew that there was no way I was going to quit. So I had to, like, mentally prepare myself for, like, a long 2-hour walk in the cold. Just left the last aid station. I made the cutoff there by 90 seconds. And then they told me the course is 3 miles long. So I have 3 hours to go 13 miles. My knee is blown out. I can't jog really. So At least I know I'm going to finish, but I may not make the cut. We'll find out. With 4.5 miles to go, I reached the final aid station, and the medic was like, dude, I gotta hold you, man. I was shivering uncontrollably. I had a base layer on that was soaking wet. It was just, I've never been so cold in my life, and apparently I was a little bit delirious, answering weird questions. So he kept me for a little bit, gave me some chicken broth, said, you're not going to make the cut anyway, but I am going to let you finish if you let me warm you up a little bit. I wrapped myself in a space blanket after a little bit and just started the last 4-mile trek home. I found another runner that was doing the 100-mile. Stacy, if you ever see this, I don't know your last name, but she was like an angel that I needed. She's like, oh, you look really, really cold. I told her how cold I was, and she gave me an extra large space blanket, fresh out of the pack, took her pack off to help me. And like, I really think that I made it those 4 miles because of that extra space blanket, because the little one that I had, I wasn't warm. And when I put that one on, it was a little bit bigger, got down to my waist. I think that was the real reason. And you can hear the rain just coming down. And that's when I told myself, after I left that aid station 4.5 miles ago, I wasn't going to make the cut, but I was going to finish. So here's the long and short of it. I didn't make the cutoff, but I'm like a quarter mile out. I still want to finish. So I'm gonna get it done, but I won't qualify for stones. And I don't even know if they'll give me an official finish time, but I want to cross the distance. I want to cross the finish line, so that's what I'm doing.
New York.
Not getting an official finish time kind of sucks, but as I mentioned earlier in the video, like, it was okay. I did the distance. I don't need the stones to verify the work that I did. If you are going to do this race, please be prepared for a couple things. One, remoteness of aid stations and no cell phone service. So you really have to communicate with your crew when and where are the ranges that you are going to be there. And you really should have close to like a 4-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive vehicle to get to Camp Todd aid station at least. Also, be prepared for long grinds of climbs. Like, yes, there's a lot of elevation, but really the 11,000 feet really came in 3 major climbs of 3,000 feet. And I was more prepared with courses that had like rolling terrain that would equal that amount of feet. I had not prepared myself for long, steady 90-minute to 2-hour climbs at 20% incline. That really, really hurt me a lot. And if I was a little bit more prepared for that, I think it would have been a much different outcome. And also, guys, look at the course description. It is a little bit long. It's 65 miles. I don't know if they're going to change it next year. That's a 1630 is a tight cutoff for that mileage, but you know, it's very, very doable. I think, you know, with the different weather patterns and stuff, it made the course more challenging, but I knew what I was in for. I knew the cutoff. I knew how long the course was. I just frankly wasn't prepared for the cold weather. I didn't have proper gear. And I also definitely wasn't prepared, like I said, for those long climbs. So obviously I'll sit down and I'll do a full recap when I get home. I didn't get a DNF. They listed me as ran out of time, which essentially is what happened. I realized now in the morning, like, I was hypothermic at the end. I wasn't thinking, which is kind of why I went out on that last stretch without a jacket. At that point, I was already so cold. I don't know, and I got into that aid station and everyone was just pushing me out so that I could go on. And, which in hindsight made things worse, because at the aid stations I was eating so much and refilling bottles, and I couldn't do that. So I thought, looking at my watch, the fact that I was at like 58 miles on my watch, I'm like, okay, I got 2 hours to get 4 miles, 5 miles most. And then as we're leaving, people are like, you got to run. And I'm like, I got plenty of time. And they're like, dude, you got 12 miles to go. And I was like, I just like immediately got broken. And, but I was like, I'm going to give it a go. In the first 4 miles, I was holding like 14-minute pace or so, 14:10, which was the fastest I ran. I got to get my knee checked out. years ago I blew an IT band, and I think I blew an IT band like at mile 26. You heard me talking about my knee. I think that's what happened, which that hurt me a lot, but I don't make excuses. It happens. Like, that's what happens in races, and you battle through. So we're in the trails, and I'm fighting uphill. It's a slip and slide. I don't have a knee that's bending. And a guy passed me, and I was like, hey, how much trail do we have left? And he's like, oh, 3.5 miles. And I knew at the end of the trail was 4 miles back. And it, like, once again, just emotionally just like took the wind out of my sails. When I got to that last aid station with 4.5 miles to go, they didn't pull my bib. They're like, hey, you've gotten this far. We'll let you walk in if you want. And obviously I was like, yeah. But then the medic was like, you don't look good. I was shivering uncontrollably. At this point, I just had a base layer on, and it was like 45 degrees, but it was pouring and the wind. And I had shorts on as well, and I'd been wet for the whole day. So I was like, dude, I'm like, I can't fight you right now, but there's no way I'm not fucking leaving here. And he was like, can you compromise? And, you know, let me give you some chicken broth. Like, you're not going to make the cut as it is. Can we at least try and warm you up for the last 4 miles? And I was like, that actually sounds pretty good. So he held me, I want to say 10, 15 minutes. I had some chicken broth, which, you know, like a hot cup of coffee on a cold morning, like that felt really good. And then they wrapped me in like 2 or 3 space blankets. And they're like, if you could try and shuffle, you know, get some body warmth up. And then once you're warm under there, I always thought those tinfoil space blankets were like, not a scam, but like, didn't think they worked. I got the shivering to stop, which I didn't think it would, because once you get a chill, it just doesn't go away. I got the chill to stop, and then shuffled and ran in those shuffled and walked those last 4 miles in. And yeah, you saw from the video. I got to the line, got my finisher's mug. The only thing with the official finish is I don't get stones for UTMB Lotto. I don't really give a shit about that. After yesterday, I don't really want to go to France and do that race just yet. I learned so much, and so much to unpack, and so many excuses I can make, but I think the main takeaway and what I'll take into my next race is like, minutes count. There were so many times during the day, not where I lollygagged, but like took my time or waited on a long line at the porta potty, and I didn't really have to go. Retied my shoes. I think there was a lot of like some wide trail sections, like fire roads, like that were really windy, and even like not taking those turns and like nice and tight. I was really good in the aid stations. I think my longest aid station besides the hypothermia one was like maybe 5 minutes, maybe. I was in and out of those quick, and I knew I had to be. But yeah, like time matters. This race was a really strict cutoff. It's probably one of the biggest complaints that I saw leading up to it, but cutoffs are cutoffs. These are all things I knew going in. I can't complain about the cutoff now because I got cut. Like, I knew it. I accepted it. I knew what the cutoff was. The cutoff sped me up early in the race. So like without that cutoff, I probably would have went the same time because I would have taken it easy. So like that little urgency definitely pushed me a little bit. But today, achy, a little slow to stand up. But other than that and the knee, I'm gonna drive home right now. I can drive. So I'm gonna drive home and then get the knee checked out. Just make sure, maybe hopefully just like a really tight IT. I had my GoPro in like my spandex pocket right on my IT band. And I think even that, because I have a pretty big bruise there, I think that might have started the whole chain of events that led to the knee going at mile 26. But got my shirt on, proud of it. Got my finisher's mug, proud of that. And probably didn't quit. Like 30% of the race quit. And I didn't quit. I just didn't go fast enough. All right. That's for now. We're going to drive home. And then maybe I'll say something else before I post this. There's more ultras in the near future. So if you are new here, you know, get down and subscribe to the channel and you can see me kind of redeem myself from this. And if you were out there on the course, it was such a joy. I think the hardest thing in my first 100K is the amount of like people that impacted my life that I'll never see again, or I don't even know what their names were. Like, that was the weird, I wish I asked more people what their name was or where they were from, or at least like got their bib number with my camera so that I could go back and talk to them, or at least message them, because I'll tell you, you need each other out there. And I'm sure I helped people get through, and I'll tell you, people really, really did help me get through as well. There was one dude, Paul, I don't know your last name, but he had a little card and he would always tell me how far to the next aid station, things like that. I don't know if he finished. Like, it's kind of like a war zone. Like, I don't know if you made it out, man, but it was fucking awesome. And I can't wait to get out there and do another one. I got a 50 miler in 2 weeks. The New York City Marathon's on the calendar, and then the Canyons 100K with some other stuff sprinkled in, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I know this was a long video, but I hope it inspired you to get out there and push your limits and try something new. Take it easy.